Hey, and welcome to your Virgo horoscopes for the week ending March 16th, 2024. No planets in Virgo this week. We do still have Juno influencing things and specifically influencing things in the home. Still retrograde also. Juno represents how we relate to others and is very specific to our relationships with the people around us. A lot of times our love relationships, but it does sort of venture out into other types of relationships as well. We also have the dark moon continuing to influence things in Virgo, and it's really influencing your mind and how your mind works. And it's also retrograde. Now, Lilith is all about making changes. And so in retrograde, it really is showing how the inability to make changes in your mindset around certain things is making it difficult to make positive changes, say, in your relationships specifically. And because these relationships are focused on the home, we're really looking at the relationships that are very close to us. So the people that live in our home, but also family. It's that unit that is closest to us, our spouses, our children, our parents, our siblings, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's actually a very interesting combination here because both of these influences are retrograde all throughout the week. And the really interesting layer is that Lilith, the inability to change your mindset on something. That is actually stubbornness. That's what we call stubbornness. And while Virgos are not known for stubbornness, it's not like your leading trait or anything. It doesn't mean that you aren't stubborn about certain things either. There is a balance, always a balance. We humans are so extreme in the way that we deal with things. We either put up with everything or we don't put up with anything. There really isn't a middle ground there, which is to put up with some things because it's worth it, but to draw boundaries on some things because that is also worth it as well. So I kind of feel like this week, how this is really playing out for you guys is that these difficulties in these relationships that keep coming up over and over again, it's like you're having the same fight with the same person constantly. You must look to you first before you start pointing the finger about what the other person in the relationship is doing. Most common in what I deal with clients is that my clients will come to me and they will say, well, you know what, everything would be great as long as they didn't do this, or as long as they would stop doing this, or as long as they would start doing this. And while I agree, not one of these clients has said, what do I need to do to fix this problem? How can I communicate in a different way? How can I broach this subject in a way that maybe this person will understand and maybe we can have a constructive conversation about this so that I don't feel like I'm stuck having to deal with the same situation over and over again, feeling like a cat chasing its tail, right? It gets so frustrating after a while when it's the same BS over and over and over again. Two things come up with that. One, Virgos, like Aquarians, like me, are blunt and shoot from the hip. And a lot of times, there are a lot of personalities out there that really don't respond very well to that. Most people don't like being told what they need to do. And unfortunately, being blunt and shooting from the hip, that tendency does have a tendency to come up. So you do want to try and avoid that. Obviously, if you've tried it before and it hasn't worked, it probably won't work any more than it did when you tried it before. So you have to broach this topic in a different way. Virgos are extremely intelligent people, so you should have no problem finding another avenue, another way of communicating these problems to these people within your relationships. The other thing that's very interesting actually about this is that In terms of Lilith's need or position in retrograde that says, I refuse to change my mindset on something, what that means in black and white is that you refuse to step out of your ego. You refuse to accept what you're doing as a problem within this relationship. We see this all the time in every single relationship. I've been a victim of it, but I've also been the cause of it at the same time. We individually, all of us have this. It's not my fault, it's the other person's fault. And when we understand where the other person is coming from, we actually give ourselves the opportunity to change the situation or eliminate the situation. So this week, is a prime opportunity to do just that, is to be able to identify maybe what we're doing to cause a problem within the relationship. Because usually when couples or people within relationships, when they don't get along, it's because each individual is so focused on what they're not getting that they don't care what the other person isn't getting. And that is going to continue the problem for eternity unless you change that up. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation through my coffee link, which is in the description of the video. Really appreciate the coffees. You guys are awesome. Also, check out my website, which is also a link in the description of the video. I'm Melissa Bruce, Heavy Metal Psychic, and I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys, you want a solution, so be the solution, which I know you can. I will see you guys next week. You guys make it a great week.